Hello. Today is our third day of our 30-day Bible challenge, and we are reading the book of Leviticus. Levi was one of the 12 tribes of the Israelites. He was one of Joseph's brothers, and as we said the other day, that the priest wears a breastplate, and it has 12 stones representing each of Jacob's sons who became the 12 tribes. And this is what a priest looked like in the Old Testament church. Our theme for Leviticus is sanctification, because the people of Israel were set apart. And not only were the people of Israel set apart, but the priests who were part of the people of Israel, they were set apart as well. So they were called the Levites, which is why this book is called Leviticus, because it concerns the family of Levi. Let's get started. Okay. So this is the tabernacle. We have the altar of sacrifice, and then we have the basin to clean ourselves, and then we have the tabernacle itself, and we have God's presence there represented by the smoke. Now, approaching God was very dangerous because God is perfect and we're imperfect. So we have to make a sacrifice on the altar because of our impurities. And then once we make the sacrifice, because we touched the dead animal, we have to wash before we are able to visit in God's presence. So let me get out a model that I made, and I want to face it the right way. Let's see here. Yes, so north is facing up. This is a model of the tabernacle, and we'll talk more about the tents around the model tomorrow. But here is our priest, and he represents all 12 tribes, which is why he's got the 12 stones on his breastplate. And he goes in here, makes a sacrifice, cleans up, and then goes inside the tabernacle. I'm going to lift the roof off of the tabernacle. And we have 3 items inside here. We have the showbread table. We've got the altar of incense, and we have the lampstand. And of course, in here, we have the Ark of the Covenant, where they kept the law of Moses, but they only could go into that room once a year on the Day of Atonement, which we call Yom Kippur. So let me get out my lampstand here, which I have. Now I want to face these the right way. So if we're going this way, we'll have the altar of incense. We've got the lampstand, and we've got the bread table. Now, I think of this, when I see this as a Christian, I'm reminded of the Holy Trinity, because you've got the lampstand here with the 7 lamps, which represent the 7 days of creation. And of course, God the Father was the creator. You've got the bread here, and of course, when I think of bread, I think of Jesus, who called himself the bread of life. And then when I see the altar of incense, I think of the smoke going up to heaven, similar to the Holy Spirit. So I think of the Trinity when I see this as a Christian that believes in the Trinity. But we'll talk more about those later because we still have 2 more books of what they called the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the holidays. One thing I really love about the Jewish faith is that they recreate the creation every single week. They don't use the words that we use, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because they're actually pagan words. Sunday is when people used to worship the sun. Monday was when they worshiped the moon. Tuesday is when they worshiped Mars. Wednesday is when they worshiped Mercury. Thursday is when they worshiped Jupiter. Friday is when they worshiped Venus. And Saturday is when they worshipped Saturn. But the Jewish people didn't partake in these pagan practices, so they just call their days of the week first day, second day, Thursday, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, and seventh day, or Sabbath. They eat special bread, they drink wine, they light candles, and the mother usually puts together the Sabbath dinner. Because in the Jewish faith, the mother is where the line of the religion follows through. And of course, as Christians, we believe that Jesus was brought into this world by his Jewish mother, Mary. So the next thing I want to talk about is the holidays, because they mention, in addition to the Sabbath, they mention 3 or 4 holidays, depending on how you count. They mention the Passover. The Passover is when we think of the Passover, the Exodus, when Moses left Egypt with his family. And then, just like every 7 days they celebrate and they rest, every 7 months they celebrate and rest. So at the beginning of the 7th month, the Jewish people blow trumpets, and then they have atonement where they fast and they ask for forgiveness. And then, after that, they live in booths for a week, or they live in tents for a week outside to remember Moses and his family walking to the Promised Land. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the book of Numbers, which is also called In the Wilderness, where we talk about the wilderness year where Moses' family lived in tents. Most of the book of Leviticus has to do with the Levitical law, but because I am a Christian, I feel that Jesus fulfilled the Levitical law. So it is a good thing to read and a good thing to understand, and God has not gotten rid of the Jewish law. He just has fulfilled it. So it's important to read. They talk about if there's mold in your house, you should get rid of the mold in your house before anybody lives there. That if anybody is sick, they should isolate themselves. Remember, our theme is sanctification, or people that are set apart. We set apart the priests from the Jewish people. The Jewish people were set apart from the Gentiles, the descendants of Ham and Japheth. The descendants of Shem were set apart from them. So sanctification is another way to say set apart. So the Jewish people are sanctified. In fact, I believe that they were set apart so that they could fulfill the law by giving birth to Jesus, that they were preparing themselves to carry Jesus into our lives, and that is why they are God's chosen people, because they were chosen to be the ones to raise Jesus and to bring him into this world. Well, thank you very much for your time. Tomorrow we will talk about numbers, or as I like to call it, in the wilderness. Thank you very much. Shalom.